Chapter 9, we're going to talk about simple interest. So in this book, we talk about, we'll have a chapter on simple interest and a chapter on compounding interest. So our simple interest is just a formula driven. Interest equals principal times rate times time. So it should be fairly easy. What you want to remember is the time. So the time is always expressed in years. If they give it to us in years, obviously that's the easiest, but normally they do not. So if they give it to you in months, you leave it in months and you put it over 12. So if it's 3 months, you put 3 over 12. A lot of times it's daily. So students want to use 365 because there's 365 days in a year. But the only time we use 365 is if you actually see the words exact interest. If you do not see those words, we always assume ordinary interest. So ordinary interest is far more common. Sometimes it's called banker's interest, and it's over 360. So however many days it is, we put it over 360, and then we compute the interest. So the textbook gives you different ways to figure out those days. I like to use the financial calculator because our financial calculator is required for this course. So you're going to want to use it, either the actual physical calculator or you can get an app for your phone for this BA2 Plus, and it looks just like the calculator. We have a date function. So it's in our second menu and it's above the number 1. And then when you go into that date function, these are the different fields. So when you're moving around in that calculator, you're going to use the arrow keys. So if I flip back to the calculator, up here at the very top row, you have the arrow up, arrow down, enter, and compute. So those are going to be the keys that you use in there. So see, look at the top of that cell. Compute, enter, arrow up, or arrow down. Those are the top rows of keys. So you'll have date 1, date 2, and then your days between your dates. So you want to just enter those dates in the proper format. So let's say we were going from January 15th to February 18th. We're going to enter the month, a decimal, 2-digit day, 2-digit year, and then we're going to press the enter key. Again, that enter key is right beside the compute button. Then we arrow down to get to the next date, and then we put in 2 for our month, decimal, 2-digit day, 2-digit year, and again, hit the enter key. Then we're going to go arrow down to our days between our dates. So this DBD stands for days between the dates. And then we're going to tell the calculator compute that. So we got to make sure when we're in these fields, we hit enter, arrow down, enter, arrow down, and then compute. I mean, obviously put the numbers in, but when you put the number in, you got to still hit enter. And again, enter is a separate key. It's not the equal sign. Sometimes students want to push equals. Equals isn't enter. Enter's up. It's a little button called enter up at the top of the calculator. Okay, then we also, in the same simple interest, we have what's the maturity value. Because again, if you say you're going to go invest money at the bank, you give them $1,000 because you want to earn interest and you want them to pay you back at the end. It's going to be your principal plus your interest. So we always have to take the time to add back the principal. And then the one thing I do that's different than the textbook is I don't rearrange the formula. They have a whole section where they rearrange it so the P's on the one side of the equal sign, the R's on the one side, the T's on the one side. To me, that's very confusing. I just leave it like this, and then I solve what I'm looking for. Now then there can be notes that are discounted. So the discount, we still calculate interest the same way. We take the amount of the loan times the rate times the time, but then we call it a discount instead of interest, and that just means we subtract it. So the bank is going to not give the company, so in this example, if they're borrowing 50 grand, they're going to give them 48,750. So the 50,000 minus the interest. So that's all that the difference is. We still calculate the interest, but instead of paying it at the end, we subtract it at the beginning. So then the next question will say, well, what's the actual effective rate? So we recognize they're giving us a 10% discount. But because we never actually get all of that money, we only get the 48,750. Our rate is a little bit higher. So they also like to ask us that as well.